T-minus 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have engine ignition.
Main engine start. And we have liftoff up and carry for the NG-15 mission, the Wallops Flight Facility. Engines are at 100%. Attitude, core pressures, and vehicle subsystems are nominal.
The SS Katherine Johnson takes flight on this, the 59th anniversary of John Glenn's Mercury flight, carrying 8,000 pounds of cargo to the International Space Station. Good performance on the first stage so far.
Engines at 100%, all systems nominal. Stage 1 continues nominal performance, engines at 100%. Good core pressures. Engines remain steady, attitude nominal. Max Q, attitude nominal.
First stage passing through the area of maximum dynamic pressure on the rocket. 90 seconds into the flight. This first stage burns for a little over 3 minutes, 3 minutes 18 seconds until main engine cutoff.
About 90 seconds to stage 1 burnout. Attitude nominal. Engines at 100% and steady. T plus 2 minutes. All subsystems continue in nominal performance. All subsystems are nominal. We'll be ready to shift down to 80% on the engines at 170. Start of slow throttle down.
Throttling down at 3 minutes into the flight, main engine cutoff coming soon.
Throttle down to 55%. Main engine cutoff.
We have MECO, and Terry's entering into a coast stage. Fairing separation will occur about 30 seconds later. As we lose sight of the vehicle, now switching to animation. Some controlled firings on the interstage of the rocket.
Attitude nominal, good separation. "20 seconds to stage 2 ignition. All subsystems nominal. Fairing separation. Interstage separation.
Confirmed fairing separation and interstage.
Stage 2 ignition.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed. Stage 2 is a solid rocket motor, burns for about 2 minutes 44 seconds.
Stage 2 will continue to burn for another approximately 2 minutes. Altitude 138 kilometers. Mission time, 300 seconds. Velocity, 4.8 kilometers per second. Altitude, 150 kilometers. All systems continue to perform nominally.
Good calls, 5 minutes, 15 seconds into today's flight.
Stage 2 motor pressure, nominal. Attitude nominal. Altitude is 170 kilometers, roughly 1 minute to stage 2 burnout. All stage 2 and GNC parameters continue to be nominal.
6 minutes, 15 seconds into the flight, coming up on stage 2 burnout of that solid rocket motor. That'll initiate a 2-minute coast period until second stage separation.
Stage 2 starting to tail off. Roughly 15 seconds to burnout. Stage 2 burnout. Attitude nominal.
Stage 2 burnout, good attitude. We're in a coast period now.
Separation.
Cygnus exposed after that fairing separation, and will continue to carry the second stage with it until about 9 minutes into the flight.
Nominal. Attitude nominal. Attitude nominal. Expected attitude control system thruster firings received. Continuing on course. Roughly 1 minute to payload separation. Altitude 185 kilometers. Velocity 7.5 kilometers per second. All systems continue to operate as expected. Approximately 30 seconds to spacecraft separation. Attitude nominal. Systems continue to perform as expected. Attitude corrections maintaining expectations.
LCGSO, I just released red team to the pad.
Copy that.
Spacecraft separation.
Confirmed. 9 minutes into today's flight, Cygnus has separated from the second stage.
LC Ace, that concludes our callouts.
Copy that, Ace. Okay, NG-15, excellent job today. Let's go ahead and wrap up through this post-launch checklist. And Prop 1, can you report on status of pulse purging?
Pulse purging has just started.
Copy that. We'll check 430. And GNC1LC, when you have the Antares date factor to the Cygnus POC emailed and confirmed, give me a call back on step 431.
Copy and work.
From the Wallops Range Control Center in Wallops Island, Virginia, some celebratory fist bumps as they successfully delivered Cygnus into orbit, a 9-minute flight on top of Antares from Virginia Space's Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport into orbit. Cygnus now flying free. The SS Katherine Johnson in flight will make its 1.5-day journey, just a little shy of 2 days, to the International Space Station, arriving in the wee hours early morning on Monday, February 22nd.
Arm enable rotated, arm enable indication no longer illuminated.
Copy that, Ops 1. And Ops 1, disable your local launch enable button.
Ops 1, launch enable removed.
Flight controllers in Dulles, Virginia, Northrop Grumman's Mission Operations Center will take control of the Cygnus and monitor its approach to the International Space Station over the next couple of days. Solar array deployment coming in a couple of hours. Will be breaking before that, and we'll provide confirmation of that via our blog and social media. Before we depart with you today for our coverage of the launch of Northrop Grumman's CRS-15 mission to the International Space Station, we're bringing on Deputy Manager of the International Space Station Program, Kenny Todd, on with us to provide some remarks. Kenny, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Gary. Good morning. It's good to be with you.
Kenny, this launch comes ahead of a crew rotation and, of course, in the nearer term, some EVAs. From the perspective of the International Space Station Program, what is the significance of this mission, CRS-15?
Well, Gary, I mean, this particular mission has about 8,000 pounds of cargo coming to the space station, and roughly a third of it is going to be dedicated directly to utilization and science on board the station. And so, again, that's our bread and butter. That's what we're up there to do is really do the utilization and science that our commercial customers need, the things that we need to learn in order to go further into our solar system, our human research. And so we've got a lot of this flight that's dedicated to that kind of activity. In addition to that, we've got a little over a third of it that's dedicated just to basic vehicle systems maintenance hardware and some new technology that we're bringing on board. So again, as we look to go further away from low Earth orbit, the thing that we have to do is continue to learn about the systems that we're going to need, and the ISS provides a great platform for that. So we are launching some new hardware in the vehicle systems area that allow us to demonstrate some of this technology and ensure that it'll be there for us when we need it in the future. But then, as always, these Cygnus flights are very important to us because they bring up a lot of crew supplies as well. They are a workhorse when it comes to making sure that we keep our crews sustained on orbit with the different consumables that they need. So, again, a very important flight for us, and we're glad to see it off the ground and on the way to station.
Off the ground and on the way to station on time, Kenny. This is coming right on the heels of Texas having some severe winter weather. Now, how were International Space Station operations continuously supported during those rolling blackouts across the state?
Well, there's kind of two facets to that, Gary. There's the facilities. The facilities themselves are from a power standpoint, we're fairly redundant. We have generators here on site in MCC, but, we also have control centers around the world, Gary, that we can leverage into whenever any one of us has a particular issue going on at their site. And so when you have a program like the space station that's been around 20 plus years, I don't want to say we've seen it all, but we most definitely have had our challenges through the years when it comes to supporting. So one facet is the facilities, and we're in really good shape there. The other facet is just our people and making sure that we have the people available to come in and work and make sure that we're keeping an eye on our friends and colleagues up in low Earth orbit and having their back. And I think the team has done a really nice job here again because we're very well practiced living here on the Gulf Coast. We're pretty well practiced at contingency operations and knowing how to staff the facilities and make sure at the same time that we're taking care of our people and their families.
Hey, that's right. And the crew is going to be expecting all this 8,000 pounds of cargo here in the next couple of days. Tell us what's ahead for once Cygnus arrives in terms of capture, cargo operations, and some of the science on board.
Sure. we talk a lot of times around here in terms of dominoes, and we have a lot of dominoes stacked up right now. When you look into February and the early part of March, getting the vehicle to station, getting the Cygnus there is that first domino, and with that, we'll get the hatch open here. On the day that it arrives, we got some key science objectives that we want to get going in that first couple of days. So the first 2 or 3 days after it gets there, we'll be heavily and intensely focused on the science that we need to get up and running. Then shortly after that, merely 4 or 5 days after that, we'll be heavy into doing a set of EVA preps. We're at this point planning on going out to do an EVA in the possibly as early as next weekend. We've got a double EVA planned, and so we'll get busy on that as quick as we get the Cygnus, get the science up and going that came up in Cygnus, and then we'll be on to doing EVAs.
A lot coming up here in the near term. Kenny Todd, thank you so much for joining us here at the end of our launch coverage.
Thanks for having me, Gary. I appreciate it.
Again, we had a successful launch of Northrop Grumman's CRS-15 mission on time today, 12:36 and 49 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. You're getting a live look at the Mission Operations Center in Dulles, Virginia. Northrop Grumman flight controllers taking control of the vehicle and will monitor its approach to the International Space Station over the next near 2 days until it arrives in the early morning of February 22nd, Monday morning. Robotic operators Suichi Noguchi and Mike Hopkins aboard the International Space Station will be poised at the controls of the Canadarm2, the robotic arm of the station, ready to capture it when it arrives Monday morning. The Cygnus is in orbit right now, but its solar arrays are not deployed. We will be wrapping up our coverage and providing confirmation of that solar array deployment here in the next couple of hours, and that it is receiving power and well on its way to make that journey to the International Space Station. Our coverage on Monday morning will begin at 2 a.m. Central Time, 3 a.m. Eastern, to monitor the approach and capture of Cygnus and the 8,000 pounds of cargo inside of the vehicle, and we'll also be providing coverage of the installation process. Robotic operators on the ground will take control of the robotic arm, maneuver into position on the nadir side of the International Space Station, the Unity module, where it will remain for the next several months into May before it departs with trash and science on board to be eventually burned up in the atmosphere.